Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jim.
Did you get my text earlier about grabbing a couple of other t-shirts for today's episode?
I sure did.
Okay, here's the plan. Once we finish with this recording, let's change our shirts and then we'll record everything exactly the same again. Then we'll change our shirts again and record it all exactly. Basically, I want to create different t-shirt variants of today's show.
Oh, wow. This will become a collector's edition.
But even if it is a collector's edition, I think that maybe there's a breaking point. You start diluting the episodes and they won't get as many views as the one. You know what? Never mind. I don't think vinyl lovers would like that kind of thing at all. Do you?
It's a crazy world out there, Jim, especially in the vinyl world. You never know.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Two Guys Talking About Records, a vinyl community podcast where each week we two guys get together and we talk about records. My name's Jim, and I own a record store.
And I am Steve, a record collector. And, if we wanted to do that t-shirt switch up, I probably have several hundred t-shirts. We could put out so many variants of this.
You could, and I do too, but I only have a couple here at the store, and oddly enough, they're just regular store t-shirts that I grabbed to do, so maybe it won't work after all, Steve. We'll have to go with my new Pink Floyd one here. Just go with that. So on today's episode, we are going to discuss vinyl variants and kind of it's not a new craze by any means. I mean, variant vinyl and variant covers have been around for as long as there's been a market for it, but it seems to have exploded greatly in the past decade or so, with some of them, I think, in my opinion at least, Steve, hitting the ridiculous, right at that level of being ridiculous for the amount of different ones that are out there. And so it's going to be fun to see where this goes because as I joked around with the t-shirts, I think there is a level you get where you just dilute everything too much that nothing is special anymore.
Totally agree. It just feels like, and we've talked many times about like this cash grab to try to get that rabid fan to spend more, which is that really a nice thing to do to your biggest fans that or will just buy whatever? Hey, here's another one. Here's another one.
So you're under the delusion that corporate entities should be nice to people. That's a novel approach, Steve. Let's see how that works.
I'm trying to make the world a better place.
There we go. Well, we'll get into that.
One record at a time.
There you go. One spin at a time. Yeah. We'll get into all of this here in a little bit, but as we do each and every week, we like to show off some of our most recent pickups and have the pickups picked up for you a little bit. I know it's been kind of a busy time for you in the past month or so, but you're starting to get a few things back in, and you're getting a shipment from me next week too. So,
yep, slowly but surely. I went and visited a record store again. I'd done a record store tour, and then some people are saying, "You didn't pick that one up. Why didn't you get that?" And I thought, I'll go back. Yeah, sure as heck, the album that was in question was there, and then some others I want. Yeah, so we've started, Jim.
All right,
not big.
All right, and I saw your record room tour on your last on your channel. It looks good, but you don't have a lot of room for expansion by the looks of it.
Well, I will say my cubes are kind of loose, so I'm going to get them in, and then we just got to keep pulling the crap out.
All right, it's an ever-going cycle instead of like me where it just goes in the back room. We'll see. Well, what do you have this week that's cool and exciting?
All right. I did receive some VCRT. It's a friend of mine in South Dakota, Sioux Falls. And Richard in his channel is the Vinylizing Progger. Oh. He likes prog rock, but he watches my channel. So that's pretty nice. But he had sent me an album by this artist before, and he has this guy put out a new one, Frode Angelisen, Norwegian, and this is his new one, Aurora Polaris.
Okay.
His other one was more jazz. This has some jazz, but also veers into classical. You definitely have more violin and things happening. Beautiful piece of music. Yeah, I've spun it through once, and I had to do it 3, 4 more times, and then I can show it on my show. But it's a really nice VLC. I've been enjoying the music of Andreessen. Not a big artist, but maybe he is in Norway. But I'm really happy that Richard shared another album from him with me. So
Very
pretty
cool.
nice.
A nice looking cover too for those of you watching.
Yeah, that is. It's a real beaut. Then, oh, let's see. So I went back to that record store, and they had this Damned album. Now
Ooh, cool.
this is kind of a more of a promo thing. It didn't even come with a full jacket. It's just the cardboard. Has stickers and that in here. This had some demos and some early live music on here. They even do some Stooges covers.
Wow.
So it's just something, kind of neat from the Dam. The live stuff's from 1977, just, when they were taking off. So an interesting musical document. Is it, um, high fidelity? No, it's not, but it's not terrible either. So really liked it. Just yeah, something different. I like the Dam. I just don't need all of the Dam.
Do you know if that's an older release or is that a fairly recent type of thing?
It is an older release, but not like way back.
Gotcha.
So I
Okay.
think 20 years or something, or
Okay.
10. Some came with a T-shirt. That one does not.
Mhm.
This is the very first album from Driving and Crying. It's a group I've liked. I'm not gaga over them. I used to have a lot of their CDs, and I still have a couple of them. Fly Me Courageous is my favorite album by then. But this is their very first album, and I used to have it, and there it was on the wall. And I thought, well, I might as well grab it and pick it up. So kind of a little bit of country all. This is more indie rock though, from the late '80s.
Mhm.
This came out their very first album, so it was an interesting pickup. Um, I still like, I have this Fly Me Courageous. I think is a much better album, but this is before they got really more alt country, so I liked
Gotcha.
it. I went in to pick this one up because a friend of mine in Australia said that Mole's Instinct is an excellent album. And I'd seen it on the wall. I'd looked at it and go, "Oh, what the heck's that?" But it's an Australian band, indie rock, alt rock. This came out, I believe, in the '90s, in the mid '90s. It's a little baroque, kind of different.
Hmm.
Um, it wasn't what I was expecting, shall we say. It's going to take a few more listens. It's a record store day. I don't remember seeing this on the record store day list,
I
but
don't know.
supposedly it is. And I don't think anything special since it's records. Oh no, look at that! It's on green. Okay, it matches the this here.
The cover.
So,
Cool.
so I'm still trying to decide on it. What I really is it grabbing me or not? So it was not an instant grabber, but I gave it a shot. Yeah, someone highly recommended it, and maybe I just need to listen to it more, Jim.
You need
You
to
never know,
expand
right?
your mole instinct mind.
Yeah, yep. I found this 7-inch single there. This has "Get a Grip on Yourself." It's a UK. So from the
Yep.
Stranglers. "Get a Grip on Yourself" was my favorite Strangler song. And when I first heard that on a compilation, I go, "Oh my God, this is like one of the greatest songs ever." And I went out and I bought an album. It has Pink Swirl vinyl, and this is from 1977. It's a vinyl variant.
There we go.
There's a couple of others on there, and so I thought that was pretty neat just to be able to get this. And the
And
last one,
and it's a 7-inch, which is usually outside your wheelhouse as well.
yes, it is. Rarely will I buy a 7-inch, but I did. And the final one, and I haven't desired this album whatsoever for a long time. I used to have it back in the '80s, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try again. It's a Japanese press of Huey Lewis and the News
There you go.
Sports. Now, as we all know, everyone in the '80s heard this enough to throw up.
Yep.
I mean, it was but I mean, it's huge. It made his name, and they had a few things after. Let's just face it, this is it. But this is a nice Japanese press. It has a nice insert in here. There we go, and we open this up, and all the lyrics and everything's in Japanese, but on the back it has the lyrics in English.
There you go.
So I can look at this, flip over, find the song on here, and learn I can read my Japanese. So I just think this is really educational, and
It is, and if you ever visit Japan, you can ask for a new drug that won't make you
yes,
sick.
that's right.
Then
That's a
spend some
great
time
point,
in
Jim.
jail.
Yeah. I kind of got this from last week's episode with Melinda Murphy. She just talked about there's just certain albums,
Yep.
that are iconic. And I guess you could say when you think 80s, definitely Huey Lewis and sports.
Yep.
So I've listened to side one and I was okay. I'm all right. I didn't flip out or have bad flashbacks of the radio in the 80s or I guess MTV because definitely Huey Lewis was everywhere.
Well, I do have a
So
copy of that languishing in my collection somewhere too, simply for the nostalgia factor of the 80s.
yeah, after I obviously I bought it when it came out, but after the flash, just I don't need it. But I spent more because it's a Japanese
Of
press. So
course.
why get a bargain bin one when I can get a Japanese press?
There you
Yeah,
go. Well, good batch
that's it,
this week.
Jim.
I just have a couple, well, three to show off here. One of these, this first one, I picked up a couple copies for the store a while back, based upon the band name, which
Mm,
happens, and the cover, which it's kind of neat. I grabbed them. They've been sitting on the shelves. No one's looking at them. So finally, the other day, I decided I'm going to open one up. And that way, if I spin them and listening, somebody might say, hey, that's cool. It's a band called Great Lakes, and the album is Contenders. So, you know what I was thinking, Steve, right? This is a Michigan or at least
yep.
Midwest type of project. It is
Uh-huh.
not in the least.
What?
These guys, these guys are from Athens, Georgia. And they've been around for 20 some years. They said like 7 albums, I think, from 2000 on till now. It's neat alternative, I'll call it that, or alt rock now, if you will. Sometimes the guitars remind me a little bit of Neutral Milk Hotel. It's that kind of very heavy. It's droning, but it's not as constant. And then there's other songs on here that vary off into more mellow and more rock and
Sure.
pop type stuff. But I actually kind of like it, regardless of the fact that it goes nowhere near a Michigan collection. And here I thought I had something. Oh, this is kind of cool, but no. I even asked. I asked Grok. I said, "So what goes with the name? I mean, how did they pick it? Is there some connection whatsoever to the Midwest and our Great Lakes?" And they said, "Nope. They couldn't find anything. It's just a name they thought was kind of cool, and they picked it." It's like, all right, you know what? There should be a rule that if you're going to do something Midwest, especially Great Lakes, you've got to have a connection if you're going to use it. I don't want to be
Maybe
protective,
one of
but
them visited. Maybe one of them visited the Great Lakes when they were a kid. To go,
that
wow,
could be.
this
But
is great.
if that's the case, it's Great Lakes. Yeah, if that's the case, it's not mentioned anywhere. It's just like, you know, it'd be a cool name, Great Lakes, because when we're in
Yeah.
Athens, Georgia, that's what we think about is the Upper Midwest. But
Or maybe now you're just assuming that they're talking about the northern Great Lakes. There could be a lake down there that they like, and it says this is a great lake.
yes, but I mean, there's only the 5, regardless of what some politician tried to do back in the 90s and make Lake Champlain a Great Lake. I remember that, and I've held it. No. Anyway, sorry about that. I digress. Great Lakes, it's cool stuff. I'll hopefully be able to find a sound sample so you can check it out. But I actually like it, so it's going to stay in the collection, and hopefully we'll move the other one here in the store. Second, this is actually kind of cool. Bauhaus is one of those groups for me that a compilation album is all I need. Don't need
Yeah.
anything else. And I do have a Bauhaus compilation album that has everything I need from them. It's their was it 1970 through I forget 1979 through 83 double LP compilation. I've got that and had that in my collection for some time. But then I found a Bauhaus Swing the Heartache, the BBC sessions. I actually used to have this on CD, and I've never owned many CDs. I did have a promo copy of the CD from way back in my radio days in the '80s, but I got rid of it at some point because it's cool. But regardless, so this is a great Bauhaus compilation, but they're all live-ish, and live-ish. They're performances for small audiences, usually in the John Peel sessions, but other BBC stuff on here as well. But it's got some great covers of, Telegram Sam is on there from T-Rex, and Bowie's Ziggy Stardust, which my other compilation has the studio versions. These are just a little bit different. And as I said, I like Bauhaus, but the compilation is all I need. And so now I've got two different compilations with a little bit different versions of the songs on there. But, Third Uncle is just such a great post-punk tune from Bauhaus. The odd thing is with this batch came in some stuff from Love and Rockets. And I used to have a bunch of Love and Rockets albums I got rid of a long time ago. And I thought, cool, I can get back into them. And Love and Rockets is great. It's just not Bauhaus. And Love and Rockets, of course, is what Bauhaus kind of sort of evolved into. And if there's a Love and Rockets compilation out there, maybe if I ever come across it, but I don't know if there is. But typically, I think some of their songs, I'm good with one or two songs in an album. But Bauhaus, there's a lot of great stuff on. And then finally, I grabbed a box set, Steve. I got too many box sets, but I got a Led Zeppelin Celebration Day box set come through. This is a 3 LP set. It's a live performance. This is a 2012 pressing, but it was 2007, I believe, was a reunion concert of Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, and John Bonham's son, Jason Bonham, playing drums. So it's very cool. I've seen this, and actually I've had this in the store several times. And when it was still in print, we would have copies of it and folks would grab it, but I've never kept one. I gave it a listen and I like it. It's a really, really good and complete live performance. So triple LP, each one of them has their own outer sleeve rather, inside the box. And then it came with a nice booklet. So lots of other additions on there. So the booklet's got all sorts of photos and information about the concert and each of the songs going through there, and bios on each of the members. So, I'm a Zeppelin fan. I'm not a huge Zeppelin fan, but it's easy to be a completist with Zeppelin and their studio albums, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And as far as live Zeppelin goes, the only other one I've got is The Song Remains the Same, which is a great album into and of itself. But this is a neat addition, and I'm not minding that I'm putting a box set on the shelf with that one. So.
That's a nice one. I used to have that. I think I had the CD version though back in the day.
And good album. They still had chops in the early 2000s. I mean, not that Robert Plant does now, but I mean, even now we're talking 20 years since that concert.
So, isn't that something?
And Jimmy Page's guitar work is just phenomenal on that as well. So lots of great stuff. Well, as we do each and every week with our pickups and some of the other things that we'll talk about on today's episode, we'll put together a Spotify playlist so you folks can listen in as well. You will find a link to that playlist in the description below, wherever you're watching and or listening to today's episode, whether it be on the YouTube channel or on the BLEAVE Podcast Network, which, by the way, if you're listening to us on there, thank you. Make sure you hit the comment button on there, or share it even. Or leave kind of a review, I think, is what you do with a lot of those podcasts on the audio side. It helps spread the word on our channel if you do that. But yeah, BLEAVE feeds Spotify, iHeart, all of the places that comes from that BLEAVE podcast. So we thank you folks who are listening via that platform. Always appreciate it.
Yep.
So Steve, earlier today, as we were getting set up for this, you texted and asked if I could look for something. I haven't had a chance. You want me to do that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
You were looking for that new one from Violet Grohl, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But
David Grohl's daughter.
David Grohl's daughter. But you wanted a vinyl variant of that, and so let me go into Discogs real quick here and check and see.
I want an alternative cover.
The alternative. I'm sorry, not the vinyl variant. The alternative cover. That is what you mentioned. Hold on here. Yeah. Looks like there are only 7 vinyl versions. And I have seen this in our distributor, so I should be able to get that for you. Hold on here. Oh, hold on. There's the lower one there. It's Be Sweet to Me. The alternate cover of Violet Grohl's Oh, you know what, Steve?
Yeah.
This is an Urban Outfitters exclusive.
Damn them.
So I can't get that. I can get you
Seriously.
the regular cover, but you have to go visit an Urban Outfitters the next time you want to. I don't know if you and Patty want to update your wardrobe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Trying to get that young look again going instead of a t-shirt.
So this is interesting. So I mean you could get this except for the fact that there's only one copy available on Discogs for $60. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So limited.
Isn't that something?
And it says it's limited to 1,000 copies. So in this case, okay, that type of variant, Steve, I think is a little easier to get a hold of because it's just a cover variant. Maybe not easier to get a hold of,
Yes.
but easier to make. They just have to print
Yeah.
another version instead of pressing it.
Why not? Keep them versions coming. But it just, there we go. Brand new. That just came out a week ago. And how many you said 6 variants of it?
Yep, seven vinyl. Well, 7 vinyl variants. Let me go back to it. 7 versions, not vinyl variants. Sorry, 7 versions, and 1 cover variant on there as well. So yeah, what do we have here? Looking at, there's a European, there's a UK that's violet with purple. There's a blueberry jam. There's an ivory in the USA and Europe. There's a US black vinyl and a US blueberry jam. Those 2 US ones from Republic Records are the ones that we can get a hold of. So yeah, there's a couple of different vinyl variants on that, Steve. Nothing too crazy. But as you said, things can get a little weird, can't they?
They can. And they're getting much weirder.
Vinyl variants, cover variants, just the different things. They've been around for a long time. We've talked before about some of these. They're really aimed at the collector, the super fan, if you will. And in some cases, I think that's cool. And one of the things, and I think you've got that. I didn't grab mine to show, but the Police and Synchronicity.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Exactly.
earlier ones that I can think of. Not obviously the earliest, but one of the more popular ones that you see out there. And how many do we have in that?
There is 36 variations of that one, of Synchronicity. It came out in 83. 36. And
Of the cover. Yep.
yeah, of the cover. And, I guess you can go back and even say Some Girls by the
Yep.
Rolling Stones. That had
That's
a
true.
lot of variations, changing the colors and stuff. So for those obsessive collectors, it gives them, well, it gives them something to do, I guess, to
Yep.
find all these.
If you're going to be a completist on that album specifically, you can
Yeah,
dig through. And I'm sure that there are folks out there
there
that
are.
dive into that type of thing. But more recently, it seems that there's been a trend of kind of overdoing it. And I don't want to sound like an old fuddy duddy get off my lawn type of record collector, but there are ones, and the one that comes to mind, and this is because I got stuck with a few of them, is the Megadeth from earlier this year. It's a self-titled Megadeth that came out, double LP, and I do have a copy of this, the black vinyl version right here. The story behind this here at our store, Steve, is that I had some couple, I think maybe 3 or 4 pre-orders for this,
Hmm.
and they wanted the indie exclusive. It was on Crystal Red or something like that, and I do have one of those still here as well. But that got delayed for whatever reason. That version got delayed to stores like ours, and I've got conspiracy theories up here rolling around as to why some of that'll be. Maybe I'll share them here in a bit. But regardless, it got delayed. The people that were waiting for a pre-order said, "We'll trust you. We'll hold out that you'll get it. We won't get the other ones. We won't get the black vinyl ones." But somewhere along the way, and when it got delayed and I had the people asking for it, I put in a double order, and then I think I put in a triple order. So I ended up with, you know, 5 or 6 copies each, which for us is a lot for something
Yeah.
like that nature. So then I got looking onto this, Steve, and I dug into it, and there are a lot. And
Yeah.
looking at the Discogs page for this Megadeth, for just coming out earlier this year, there's the big list of the vinyl editions coming through. Now, overall, there's 63 different versions of this album, but that's all combining digital, compact disc, and vinyl. On the vinyl side, we're just down to 38 variations, but the Discogs main master page lists this and the numbers thereof. I mean, you can get everything from a radioactive yellow decibel, a decibel exclusive rather radioactive, 150 of them. There's a guitar ash filled, the cremains version where they burnt a guitar and filled it with ash. Then there's a blue and orange splatter from Rough Trade. There's a Brooklyn vegan exclusive, two different ones from there. There's Amoeba Records, Wax Beans Records, Rude Records exclusives, Megadeth Web Store exclusives, Cyber Army exclusives, something called Bad World, signed copies from Talk Shop Live, Banquet Records, Hot Topic. There's your other clothing store, Steve. I know you shop there a lot. The lenticular cover, which was an Amazon exclusive, a Target exclusive, and then the crystal red organza, which is finally way down there, and there's question marks as to how many, is the indie record store exclusive, reserved for folks like us. There's even a Zoetrope picture disc out there, a double picture disc. Mm-hmm. And, I think that at some point, and again, this is just me, at some point, you begin to just overwhelm the collector with what it is they want. So, okay, I'm a Megadeth fan, but I also love shopping at Hot Topic. I guess I'm set. I'm a Megadeth fan who has to go pick up a couple of rolls of toilet paper from Target. So I guess I'm set. I like supporting my local indie record store. I'm set. Mm-hmm. But at what point does it get too ridiculous for you?
Something like that, to me, is there. I mean, so they're limiting these 100. You said 150 on some. Again, we're going after that collector who, it might be more not so much I really want this album as that could become worth some money. Doing the vinyl stock market here and thinking, hey, if I get that, then I can try to sell it possibly. But why do we have to have it? And I guess if you're a corporation, so we'll say Target. And so Target wants their own special one to bring in people. Well, now everybody else, obviously Hot Topic, Urban Outfitters, everyone wants that special one to pull specific people in, limit it. So now it becomes more of a rarity thing, and they're going to come in, and you can charge probably more money. I mean, that's expensive to do when you're doing all these variants at the pressing plants and trying to come up with it. Kind of crazy, Jeff.
I did a little research on that. Let me see if I can call that up here. Obviously, when you are pressing fewer versions of something and you're creating more copies of that, it's a lot more cost effective. And in doing kind of this, let me make sure I've got my right window here before we go forward. But yeah, in looking at this, obviously, if you're creating, as I said, fewer variations of it, you're creating more of it. So the cost goes down a little bit on that. The master and lacquer cutting, that helps, and that's pretty standard across the board. The plating, where you create the stampers, that's stable across the board, unless you're creating a different version of something. But then you get into the pressing, where those PVC, the vinyl is created, so to speak, and you can create the different variations in there. But what happens is that the more different variations that you have, you've got to clean that in between. Let's say you're pressing 200 to 300 of something. Okay, you did that done, fairly easy to do. But now you've got to break the machinery out, clean that out before you create the next one, so that there's some purity in the color variations. You don't want extra colors mixing in unless you're just kind of doing a potpourri smackdown inside of all of that. Yeah. But I think we had that breakdown of this that said a lot of the costs are fixed. And if you're doing, I had AI break this down. So rough per unit pressing costs approximately in 2026 figures. It varies by plant, pressing plant to pressing plant, of course. But if you're creating a short run of records, let's say 100 or so, you're looking at $5 to $10 per unit, basic packagings. And you have to get some minimums amounts in there as far as the ones you're going to be doing. For 500 some odd records, $3 to $5 a unit. It's when you get into that bulk, and this is just common economic sense, 1,000 plus records, you're looking at maybe the cost getting down to $1.50 to $3 per unit, lower for much larger runs. So exactly as what you said, these shorter runs cost a lot more to do, which then is going to be passed on to the consumer, but in the guise of you're paying more because this is a premium. This is a collector's
Yeah.
item. This is something that will only accrue value over time for you. But will
You
it?
hope.
You hope. That's the
Yes,
stock
will.
market you mentioned earlier. Now,
Hmm.
here's my dilemma. I mentioned that I goofed up, and this is on me. I'm not a perfect business operator for any reason. I goof up from time to time, and I accidentally order, in this case, a few extra. So now what happens? Here we are 6 months into this. I forget when this came out, February, Marchish. And who's going to want a black vinyl copy? I ordered a couple of extra of those. Who's going to want this little indie exclusive copy? So I'm sitting on 4 or 5 copies. No big deal, but still, I think the market's diluted to the point where someone say, well, that's cool, but maybe I'd rather have the more rare one than this. I
Yeah.
mentioned the conspiracy theory earlier, and I think I've talked about this before, where and this is just me, folks. I don't want to I don't want to create a huge controversy in the comment sections or have any corporate or label come down on me, but what happened with a Greta Van Fleet release a few years back, there was supposed to be an indie exclusive. And prior to the week of the release, Greta Van Fleet themselves on social media was at the pressing plant and they shared a picture of the indie exclusive, whatever color vinyl that was, saying, we can't wait till this is here for you on Friday. And then that one got delayed. All of the other
Hmm.
variants, the bigger Target or Walmart, whichever ones they were, somehow made it out on time. But the one that they showed in the pressing plant as being, hey, this one's ready to go, got delayed until, and this is my conspiracy theory, until the corporate side had a chance to sell all of theirs first. And then the fans maybe said, well, you know what, maybe I don't need that other version.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
lo and behold,
in
this one was delayed also, the
sure.
Megadeth.
The the indie exclusive when they came out was great for record stores,
Oh,
but
heck
generally
yeah.
you'd have two. You have black vinyl, we'd have this indie exclusive that we could go in and get it. Now the indie exclusive almost like means whoop de doo dah. It's going to be on the lower end. There's going to be more copies of that. Instead,
Yep.
we have all this collector stuff. So this is pulling people away from indie stores if they want specific things. Now, oftentimes you might have to order it
Mm-hmm.
to try to get it because you may not have these specific shops by you. But it is, to me, taking customer base and putting it more to the big mega stores who can afford, to pay the extra or whatever. It's not a big deal as long as they're seeing the profit. As
Yep.
long as it's selling, they will keep doing it and asking for more at the expense of an independent.
Now, the bands themselves, a lot of these variants, you could get like a band web store exclusive. I think you mentioned King Gizzard in our preliminary, our talks earlier about this. They're ones that do a lot of indie, their own web store exclusives, and that's
Mhm.
cool. I mean, that's something that a band can do, and they've got a more direct line for their music to their customers. So, I guess I don't mind that as much as the multitudes of other ones that kick in. I mean, when you're talking like a Brooklyn Vegan or any other little record
Yeah.
label version of something, it's like, okay, I get it. You're putting a lot of hopes and dreams on getting this out to specific individuals who like both. As I mentioned, I joked, I like this band and this store, this label, this line.
Mhm.
So you're pinning a lot of that on there at the expense of folks that just want a copy of it. But I digress. It's the
Yeah.
same thing.
It, it is. And it is overwhelming when you look at some of this. When Lana Del Rey's last album came out, and did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard?
Yeah, yeah.
And I requested this. This was a alt cover, but there were 6 different alternative covers that she came up with. One of them is Lana Del Rey with her breasts hanging out. You can pick that one up now for $300 on Discogs.
Wow.
If you want to see Lana Del Rey's breast, you're going to pay for it, okay? But she put that out. It's limited, and the price went vroom, way up there. It's making some guys happy, but this was just, for me, it was an alternative cover on there, and it is a more sensual cover than the other ones.
Hmm.
But she kept dropping these, out. Then, this came out 2023. In 2024, she put out another alternative cover. So it's trying to keep it going,
Hmm.
again, because she has a huge base. So we had that. The other one, Jim, was that last wet leg. Right now, there's a lot of different variants, I think, if you go into it. But it was the cover
Yep.
variant. I bought it, and then they came with the cover variant. And I go, well, Jim, I think I'd like to have that cover variant. So now I have two wet legs. I should get rid of one. Probably should. I don't know why. That's a good point. Why the hell am I keeping that? Uh,
Now
I like the
as I
album. Maybe
recall,
that's
that's
why.
different colored vinyl too inside.
It is. It's different color vinyl on here, but
And that's their new one,
here we
moisturizer, by the
go.
way. Yep.
Yeah. The moisturizer, and there's other variants that you can pick up, and you just see more of that happening.
Well, I
You
think
know,
there's one person that we can thank for the more current variant madness that's going on now, and referred to really as the queen of variants, and we're talking Taylor
yeah.
Swift. Are we breaking
Hmm.
one of our rules talking about Taylor Swift again on here? No, she's mastered the art of creating not only the number of variants, I think in a lot of cases, but the demand by changing things up. And most of her stuff has had variants, especially when she got control over her catalog again, and or before she got control rather, and she started releasing her
Yeah.
versions of the albums. But Midnights, for example, let's go back a couple of years for Taylor Swift Midnights, and this one came out in 2022. And there, in this one, I remember she did one, two, three, four different versions of vinyl variants and CD ones marked as special editions, where she kind of changed the cover and the color of the vinyl. So there was four different covers of Midnights and four different color vinyl inside. But what happened is to really get the folks interested, the Swifties interested in picking this up, was that the backs of the covers, as I recall here, let's see, here we go into one of the Midnights, you could go to the back cover, and if you got all four copies and put them together in a frame that was sold on the Taylor Swift website, you assembled the face of a clock with all four of the back covers of the albums. And you could get the mounting for that, and you could get the clock guts, the assembly from her website, and then you had a Taylor Swift clock made of the four different covers. So I mean that's brilliant in that aspect, I think, from what's going on from her marketing department. Again, she did really cool on that. But that she kind of followed through on this with the Tortured Poets from 2024. There was, again, four different ones. But this one went so far, Steve, as to change some of the songs on these as well. There were four
Mm.
vinyl variants and CD variants marked as special editions available from her web stores for pre-orders and post-release at standard retail. So she got them on there. But she changed, I think, one or two of the tracks. Yeah, each variant was not marketed as a unique edition title. I remember this happening, but instead a file name with a corresponding exclusive bonus track afterwards on each of those variants. Again, driving the demand for her superfans to want to get all four of them. And these were not cheap when they
Yeah.
came out. Now, the latest one, this is where I think things get really interesting. Life of a Showgirl, which came out last year from Taylor Swift. Um, it lists multiple variants on compact discs, the same type of thing, Target exclusive. Different editions is kind of what they're calling them. And I think that there were some different song lineups on this. But as I go through the master release on Discogs of Life of a Showgirl, we get down to the vinyl variants, and the US copies of the standard CD were sold and packaged with four unique signed inserts. The vinyl had multiple different variants as well. And this is where I found it interesting. You scroll down, there was a cassette version, by the way, which was a vanilla perfume edition. I don't know if it was a scratch and sniff or how that worked. Well, let me go back up. Each of the vinyl variants pressed by one or more manufacturers and sold in various markets. Okay, that's just some inside stuff on there. But you get down to the digital versions made available of Life of a Showgirl. There were variant exclusive versions of this digitally as well. There was a deluxe Alone in My Tower acoustic version made exclusive on iTunes, Dressing Room Rehearsal version made exclusive on iTunes. Deluxe Life as a Song acoustic iTunes, and so on. And then there was a So Punk on the Internet version, which was a Taylor Swift web store exclusive. So above and beyond the vinyl, the compact disc variants, there were even digital variants that were sold of this based on the music.
And the genius of this is, come record store day, for the first time ever, we are releasing on vinyl this digital variant. It's never been put on vinyl before. So come get it. And now they have these different ones. And you just know that eventually they will come out on vinyl and they're going to make a big deal. And the fans are going to go, wow, I can get this in vinyl now.
There was one other current artist who's kind of taking a page out of the Swift songbook, if you will, for the variants. And this is Charlie XCX. This is her album Brat from 2024. We had a few copies of this in the store as well. But if you scroll down on the Discogs page here too, like so many other masters, it lists the multiple variants. Now, going down here on the vinyl, 72 different versions altogether, and that includes the CD and the digital, but there's 41 vinyl variants of this Charlie XCX. And the Discogs page breaks it down just like it did with the Megadeth. There's a Big Love Records exclusive, one with a signed OBI strip from Aussie Records, clear from Aussie Records as well. Picture disc from Web Store exclusive, Spotify Fans First, a Spotify exclusive on vinyl, Steve. Another Web Store exclusive, several Web Store exclusives with picture disc, different color picture discs, Amazon Warner Music. Then we get to the indie exclusive, a Target exclusive, one made in Canada, a made in Czech Republic version, two different versions on ice. Another Web Store exclusive, and something called a St. Jerome's Laneway Festival exclusive, sold, I believe, at a performance on here. So this is another one. I mean, you take that page right out, but now to the extreme where there's 40 plus different versions of this Charlie XCX album to go around.
Are they all available in the U.S., or is this one where, okay, this one's in the U.K., this is Japan, Australia?
That's going to be different stores. You get some that are going to be broken down. So if you're in Discogs, for example, you can break down the country of origin. There's U.S. There's a wider release, U.S., Canada. Sometimes there's 3 different worldwide pressings, Australia, Argentina, and Japan. So there are some that are, this is the country of origin, not necessarily the country of sale. But then when you see that there's a U.S., there's 5 versions from the U.S., Canada, and U.K. There's 3 worldwide, another UK, Europe, US, which I don't know what the difference would be on that. So you're mixing and matching on where they're produced and created versus where they're for sale.
Sure. Well, this morning on my early morning Sunday show, I showed this album. This is Kavas Jute, and it's a psych album from 1970 out of Australia. These come out, these are happening in all these psych albums now, that different independent record stores can get specific colored vinyl just for themselves. This one here was from Noble Records. So, it came out in just a beautiful blue, midnight blue, black, dark swirl vinyl. But other record stores also got this in a different color variant. So it's something now that they are offering, especially I've seen with all these psych albums that are coming out, that you can get your own exclusive just for your store.
Wow.
And it's a way to market it, so store owners, though, I mean, you got to take a gamble. Obviously you need a high volume because they're got, I'd like 10. Can you get 10 from my store? No, you're talking probably hundreds. But you have to be a run of 100. It's just going to be
you're on another level of bigger, larger city, or obviously more visible record stores like Noble is. Stuff like that would be out of reach for a store like ours here, unless I wanted to invest and then really working on online market. I don't know as if we could sell 100 of those in Midland, so to speak.
No, you
But
probably couldn't. And you need to, you're right, it has to be online. It's going to be these big, the bigger stores, the high volume that it's going to happen. But you see more of that, going on.
yeah,
And which is it's interesting, it's cool. It just puts a lot of different things out there. You just gotta decide, well, hey,
yeah,
who you
and
want to
I'm
support, I
I'm
guess.
not faulting the other bigger store owners that want to do stuff like that. I mean, good on them if they have the means and the wherewithal and the ability to move them. That's cool. Maybe someday we'll be at that level, Steve. We'll put out
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll get there. I'm happy with what we're doing here on this, but yeah,
you bet.
that's something that I think is very interesting. And as we go through, there's so much. I don't want to say riding, but every week here in the store, I get customers that come in that it's like even though we're what 15 years plus into the resurgence, I'll use my air quotes, folks, for the resurgence of vinyl. There are still people coming in who are surprised at this and saying, "Oh, I hear vinyl's making a comeback." I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
polite and I say, "Yeah, I get it, but does this help the multiple? It's catering to super fans or very specific locations or cities. I mean, some cases there's city specific things happening with these as well,
Mhm.
with the variants. And I don't know the answer to that. I mean, does it help the overall
Sure.
ability for us all to sell vinyl and to keep it relevant and to
hmm
keep the sales growing, or will something like this hurt in the long run?
When you said, city specific, let's go to Hackney Diamonds
There,
when that
yes,
came out.
the Rolling
And they
Stones.
put out the baseball edition, 30 variants covers with for the baseball team. Now,
Yes,
first off, they picked baseball, not football, not basketball, but let's do baseball. Okay, which has been dying.
yeah.
So, well, but that's all right. They're still rabid fans. But talk about specific for a certain market, right? And that's just, it's like, what are they doing? I don't know if they all sold or how they, I've never checked the pricing on them to see, if they went through the roof or
I don't
anybody
think they
really
did.
cared.
I had when that was released from the Rolling Stones, and I'm looking that up here. When that was released, I had some interest in folks looking for those MLB variant versions of Hackney Diamonds.
Yeah.
I was never able to get them. They were in our systems for ordering, but I could not get a hold of them. Every time they would be sold out. Adding to
Wow.
that, let's just start right up with the Arizona Diamondbacks because they're first up here. I think the cover design is just horrible because they just templated it. It's just the Rolling Stones tongue with a little baseball and then the team's colors and the team's logo down below on the side there. So I don't know. There's the Dodgers. There's another Los Angeles Dodgers. Why are there two different ones? Chicago Cubs. Let's pick something like the Cubs here. Okay, Steve. Very
Yeah.
popular team. Discogs has these running between $40 and $100. And it's
Wow.
just basically the CHC, Chicago Cubs logo on the side there. The Detroit, that's obviously here in Michigan. We had some folks looking for the Detroit Tigers version. And that one looks like it's, well, okay now. I stand corrected, Steve. The Tigers version is selling between $130 and $300 on
Wow.
Discogs.
Okay.
And
Vinyl stock market is alive and well, folks. Invest in Hackney Diamond baseball albums.
it is certainly not based upon the Tigers' performance this year, I would venture to guess.
Or
But
the
yeah,
last year.
that's the one that we really tried getting a hold of. I had people, I think two or three people looking for it, and every time I'd ordered it, it would always say discontinued or out of stock, and would never show up. So for whatever reason, that one is so well. It's the price is out of the park, Steve. So the Red Sox is 30 to 50. So why? Oh, why is the Tigers one? Maybe it's just because that was tremendously rare. I don't know the answer to
Huh.
that. I don't know
Yeah.
if it says
Isn't
that
that
there's any
something?
pressing. Let me see if there's a pressing number on Discogs. Nope. No indication whether or not. And the thing is, with this, I don't. I'm going to go out on another ledge here, Steve. I don't think that because the vinyl was not a variant, the cover was only the variant. They could have
Mm-hmm.
pressed as many of them damn things as they wanted to, and then on the cheap print that cover out because it's just
Yeah.
printing on cardboard and then create as many of those as needed. It could even have been an on-demand print for all that matters.
Yeah.
So for the
And
reason, whatever reason, it was tough to get a hold of, and now that being that valuable on the Detroit side is mystifying.
it pushes your records, me. They bought. Hey, I bought. Came out. I bought that Hackney Diamonds. I got it. Yes. Oh, now they're going to come out with this. Now I'm going to have a second album, and so suddenly people, wow, that last Rolling Stones really sold well. Yeah, because we hooked a lot of people in with
Yep.
extra variants. That's with all of them. I mean, that's what happens with so many of these albums. And so you have this, wow, you'd like to see a breakdown. It'd be interesting to know, okay, how many albums do some people have of
Yes.
these? And most people only have one, but it does add to the sales, which is, that's just, business.
Well, better luck to them. I mean, if that's what they're going to do. And the new Stones album, I have to go back. I think there's only a couple of different versions out for pre-order. Have you seen the cover of this one yet?
No,
It,
I
it
have
looks
not.
like an accurate portrayal of Keith Richards and Mick Jagger's facial features now. it's
Oh my God.
it's not an attractive cover. It's an artistic cover. Let me put it like that. But yeah,
Okay.
I think that there's in this one. I'll talk about it on our channel coming up here as we get closer to release. It's not a cheap album by any means. It's one of those. It's a little more expensive coming out. I've listened to a couple
Mhm.
songs. I know we're getting off topic, but I've listened to a couple songs, and it's typical Stones. It's pretty good, a little bluesy, a little rocky. We'll talk about that as it gets closer, though. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I still haven't bought Hackney Diamonds,
no,
so
you have. I have a copy of Hackney Diamonds, and I've listened to it once, and I've got a clear vinyl one. I should maybe go back and revisit it, and maybe now wonder if I should seek out that Detroit cover and see if it's still in our system. See if
here we go.
yeah, I'm playing the vinyl stock market, Steve. If I can buy 5 of them at the wholesale cost, I can be rich by
Mhm.
selling them on. No, I would never do.
You can. This is it, Jim. This go big. So if the Rolling Stones or the new one comes out and they go football, buy up. I'm just saying, buy.
Well, you're also talking. I'm pretty sure we're talking fewer football teams than there are baseball teams too.
There
So,
are
yeah.
World Cups on. Maybe Rolling Stones are going to go World Cup variants on teams. Whoa.
Yeah, they're maybe a
Now
little
we got,
late. They should have hit that a week or so ago
yeah,
for maximum effect
yeah.
and add on promotion with the cup happening. So, well,
But it is kind of scary just when you think about, I mean, how can we sell some more? I got an idea. Oh, let's just do this with baseball. And,
what do
well,
you
good for,
think?
that's what marketing's about.
It is. I mean, what's your take, Steve? I mean, is it better to have a cover variant because you're buying the same record essentially if you've got just a cover variant?
Mhm.
Case in point, the Wet Leg you mentioned earlier. It's
Yeah.
the same record, different color in this case, or vinyl color variants. I think that's where things get a little more ridiculous on the vinyl cover because you're actually
Mhm.
spending more to create and dilute, as we talked about.
Yeah. Um, you know, for me, if it's a vinyl cover variant and it looks really cool, I'm kind of going to get more into that instead of maybe what the vinyl is. It to get I would say if I had bought that Hackney Diamonds Detroit one, I would say vinyl these variant cover variants are the greatest thing in the whole wide world, and we all yeah, we need to keep doing these.
Had I
But
been
since I
able to
don't have it,
land it, and I did have several of those Detroit ones on order, they just never materialized for whatever reason.
oh
Now we know why,
yeah,
maybe. Again,
hmm
maddening because they could have just printed more, but then that would have
yeah.
diluted the market. I see where I'm going on a circle here, Steve. I'm talking myself out of my positions on
Yeah.
this.
Well, that's fine. Go ahead and buy a Red Sox one.
There we go.
They don't cost a lot.
Uh, well, what do you folks think? I mean, are you a fan of multiple variants of vinyl color and or covers coming out with these newer artists, especially? I mean, the older ones, Led Zeppelin. We didn't even mention Led Zeppelin and In Through the Outdoor, but that was kind of
Hmm.
an artistic thing. The
Yeah,
Police was an artistic go around on there. Genesis, Abacab, same thing. But
yeah.
nowadays, yeah, this gets a little too overburdensome.
Yeah, and when you see a group like Megadeth throwing out that many variants, it's like, really? Wow. Nuts.
Hopefully they're getting a return on investment and not having multiple copies sit in a small little indie store in mid-Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, chime in, folks, if you would. Please feel free to comment as we do see them all. I've been trying to answer a lot more of the comments, Steve. It's still rough catching up on them, because especially the last one, Melinda did very well visiting with us last week. And thank you again for that, Melinda, by the way. But feel free to chime in on this as well. Steve, I've got a very, and I'll know more on this. I've got a meeting on Monday, but we may have a really special guest coming up in July. I'll talk to you about after the fact, but I'm teasing here, folks, with this, but let you know what's happening on that very soon, hopefully after my meeting on Monday. So
excellent. Well, I guess it's about that time we have to go change our T-shirts so we can re-record this again.
Let's. Did you remember everything you said the first time around exactly?
Jim, I don't even know what I ate last night.
All right, we'll call it good. I think maybe we'll skip the variant madness on the episode and stick with the vinyl.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, you folks have been watching and or listening to two guys talking about records. In this case, multiple versions of records. And we thank you so much for joining us each and every week here on the platform of your choice. So until next time, my name's Jim, and I own a record store.
I am Steve, a record collector.
Thanks again. Oh, I forgot to say Happy Father's Day, Steve, as the recording of this, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it is. Happy Father's Day to you, too. And can't wait for Grandparents' Day. We can do that again.
There we go.
Yeah.
Have a great week, Steve. Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.